Hi guys, so last lecture we already learned how to do factorization of one variable equation. So now we will apply that method, that factorization method to solve equation of one variable. And in case we cannot do factorization to find solution for an equation, then we need to apply a formula to solve it. But the case one, so we'll go to the first situation, or the case one, like we can, oh sorry, so let me write the general form of equation of one variable equation first. So it is ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So we'll have a two situation. Okay, so the first situation, or we can say the case one, like we can do factorization of ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. Okay, so if we can do factorization, then it is easy. Okay, for example, if we can factorize it as x subtract x1 times x subtract x2 equal to 0, then if you have two terms multiply with each other equal to 0, then the first term equal to 0 or the second term equal to 0. Okay, so then x subtract x1 equal to 0, or so this mean a square bracket like this is mean or x subtract x2 equal to 0. So we have an answer x equal to x1 or x equal to x2. Okay, so for case one, factorization is easy. We can go to example. For example, if we have like x squared plus 7x plus 10 equal to 0. So for this equation, we can factor out. We already learned from last lecture. So we'll follow four steps. So the first step is find AC equal to 1 times 10 equal to 10, right? And then find own pair of numbers that multiply with each other equal to 10. So we'll have a 1 times 10 equal to 10. We have a negative 1, negative 10 times each other equal to 10. We have a 2 times 5 equal to 10. We have a negative 2, negative 5 times with each other also equal to positive 10. So we have a 4 pairs. Okay, so now we need to check to see which pair above that are having sum equal to negative b. So it means negative 7. So we have so you can calculate very quickly, right? 1 plus 10 is 11, so no. 2 plus 5 is a 7, not negative 7, so reject. We also reject it. And negative 1 plus negative 10 equal to negative 11, so we also ignore. So negative 2 plus negative 5 equal to negative 7, right? So we take that one, okay, equal to negative 7. So this one, okay, and this one is from here. And 4, we just write it as x subtract x1 times x subtract x2. And then in this case x1 equal to negative 1 subtract negative 1 times x subtract negative 2. So then we have this one become x plus 5 because the 2 negative become positive, and this one become x plus 2. Yeah, so we're done with 4 steps from last lecture. We already done factorization. So now we only need to put into equation and set it up equal to 0. And as I said above, if you know 2 term equal to 0, it means we have x equal to x1 and x equal to x2. Okay, so in this case we have x plus 5 equal to 0, or x plus 2 equal to 0, or okay, so one of two term equal to 0, so the multiplication or the product will equal to 0 immediately, because whatever times 0 is a 0. So it means we have x equal to negative 5 or x equal to negative 2. So for this case, we can do factorization. So how about if we cannot do factorization? So how can we find the solution? Okay, like actually we can do factorization, but it's not a nice number, like it's not whole number. It is like it's a comes up with, you know, fraction, or you come up with, you know, irrational number. Okay, like square root of 2, square root of 5, something like that. Okay, so so it's a not whole number. Okay, it's a not negative or positive whole number numbers. So okay, so in that case we need to use a special formula. Okay, so we'll go to case 2. So case 2 is we cannot do factorization to get, you know, whole number, sorry, positive or negative whole number. Okay, so in that case, so we have to do case 2, case 2. So let's say use a formula. Okay, so it means cannot do factorization to get positive or negative whole numbers. Okay, so in that case we need to use a special formula, and we also have the general form is ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. Then we need to calculate something called delta. Okay, I call it delta. So delta, and the formula is b squared subtract 4ac. Okay, so after you do calculation for delta, if delta greater or equal 0, okay, then the equation has a solution. Okay, and if delta smaller than 0, then the equation does not have a solutions as a real number. Okay, so yeah, so we have two cases. So whenever you calculate delta, then you can tell right away, you know, the equation has a solution or not. Okay, There's another way is you can do complete square, but we'll talk about it later in different lecture. Okay, and if delta greater or equal 0, then we have a solution x1 equal to negative b subtract square root of delta over 2a. Okay, and then x2 equal to negative b plus square root of delta over 2a. So that's the formula you have to memorize. So we'll go to example so that we can see it more obviously. Okay, so example, let's say we have an equation you need to solve for x. Okay, and the equation is like 2x squared plus 5x subtract, let's say 525 4 subtract 6, so 25 plus 24 3 equal to 0. So how can we solve this equation if we cannot factor it out or we don't want to factor it out? Okay, even okay, so the case 2 also cover the case 1. I mean, in case you don't want to do factorization, you can, you know, do right away with the formula, you know, delta thing. So like I said above, the first step is always calculate delta, but you need to determine what is A, what is B, and what is C. So here is A, here is B, and here is a C. Remember, A, B, C, you need to take the sign as well, the sign in front of it. Okay, so in this case, A is a positive 2, B is a positive 5 because before 5 is a plus. Okay, and C is a negative 3 because before 3 is a minus sign. Okay, so now we have a delta equal to b squared subtract 4ac. So in this case, delta equal to 5 squared subtract 4 times 2 times negative 3. Okay, and delta equal to 25. So 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times negative 3 is a negative 24, right? So 2 negative become positive. Okay, so become plus 24. So delta equal to 49. And because delta here equal to 49 greater than 0, so you can say the equation has solutions. Okay, as a real number, real numbers. Okay, and now you only need to apply the formula above to calculate, you know, the solution. So you know that x1 equal to negative b subtract square root of delta over 2a. Okay, and here negative b equal to 5, so negative b is mean negative 5, right? And subtract delta, we calculated it above, so delta equal to 49, so square root of 49, and over 2a, a here is 2, so 2 times 2. So x1 equal to, so negative 5 subtract 7, because the square root of 49 is a 7, right? And over 2 times 2 is 4, okay? And then we have a negative 12 over 4, so the answer is a negative 3. So that's x1. So now we calculate x2 equal to negative b plus square root of delta. Okay, so x1 and x2, the only difference is, you know, minus delta, minus square root of delta, or plus square root of delta. That's the only different thing. And we have a similar, so negative b is a negative 5, and square root of delta is a 7 over 2a is mean 2 times 2. So we have a 2 over 4. So the answer is a half. So here we already solved the equation and got the answer for x. So x1 equal to negative 3 and x2 equal to half. So it's done. So it's pretty easy. So this formula, the case 2, this formula work for everything. Okay, work for all, for all equation with the power, the highest power of x is 2. Okay, or let's say again, it works for, a general form ax squared plus bx plus c, always work. Okay, and remember, you have to check delta. If delta is smaller than 0, you don't have a solution, so no need to solve it. Just conclude right away the equation does not have a solution. Okay, so that's the end of the lesson, of the lecture today, of the lesson today. So next time we will do another new thing. It is called complete square. Why we need to do complete square? Because it's important whenever you solve equation like this, or whenever you need to do graph, like you need to do about graphing, that you learn later on. Okay, so see you next lecture, next lesson. Bye bye.